Check, check. Okay. Continuing the search of the Substack leaderboards. I'm going to spend some more time doing this. I think it was on the travel section last time. Background reading music there. So, yeah, this website has different categories, and they have leaderboards for each category. If you just select the category, it shows you I guess some recommendations, some recent posts from people, which might be like the better sort of thing to look through. But I'm gonna keep looking at the leaderboards for these different categories. Not as many categories as this, for example. This is the Discover page for WordPress.com. I don't know if they have any kind of leaderboard. That's kind of weird. They have this bottom menu. What the fuck? They have a footer down here, but you can't look at it because there's every time you scroll to the bottom, it tries to load more stuff. No way. And this is WordPress.com. their whole thing is like pre-built websites. So I'm at the right place, right? Okay. The main page is pretty fancy. Here's all their deals. Down here, an automatic experiment. What is that? Automatic experiment. Yeah, I somehow got to the Discover page for WordPress. By looking around here, I think. Yeah, it's probably, I looked under resources. And maybe discover new posts. So they don't have a whole subscription based funding system the way Substack does. I guess you can, if your blog gets a lot of hits, you can make money off of Google Ads or something. The goal of this research is to find good bloggers, wherever they may be. So I might come to WordPress. I say good bloggers. What I mean is just bloggers that I like, that I want to follow. That's really all I mean by that. Got a lot more categories on WordPress. But no leaderboard, like I said. You select a category, it just tells you how many posts there are and how many sites there are. And then there's a related sites list. Maybe that's kind of like their leaderboard. Popular sites, they have some listed here in the recommended section. But let's say I go to travel. Related sites, 5. So maybe each category has like the top 5 listed. And then you go to blogger.com, Blogspot. And there's really no way to explore Blogger. They have Blogger Buzz. Which is just, I guess, posts from the developers. Yeah, latest tips and news from the Blogger team. So I guess these websites figure people will share their blogs on other sites or just show up in Google search options. That's kind of lame. So I was kind of giving this web app crap for their limited features on discoverability, but they actually have like the best they probably have the best discoverability. I mean, WordPress is not bad, but there's no leaderboard. The leaderboard's pretty cool. All right. How did I get to the leaderboard before? I forget. It's kind of, I guess, kind of one thing about this app. Every time I use it, it's like I forget what I did before. It's not dashboard. Oh, is it home? Scroll infinitely on home. Unfortunately, their home is just turning into another scroller. Instagram, YouTube. I guess YouTube doesn't really have a scroller, but Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Got this thing. Is this stuff people that I subscribe to? Maybe. How did I get to the leaderboards? I'm pretty sure it was in Discover. Oh, that's my window isn't big enough to show the leaderboard. Let me zoom out. That to me doesn't seem like a good design, because there's nothing telling me when I'm zoomed all the way in. Nothing telling me that there's something over there. The leaderboard section. If I had a small monitor and I never changed my zoom, I would never know that this was here. Leaderboard travel / paid. Wonder if I get rid of paid. No. Search results for travel. I guess you can search keywords and get a lot of results. Probably error out eventually. How do you know what to search though, you know? What if I put free here? Huh. Is this any different now that it says free? Doesn't look like it. I wonder if I can scroll past 525. Takes a while to do this, goes 25 at a time. Oh, that's right, they don't have 525 and travel. All right, I'm gonna get through this category. A lot of this stuff I'll probably skip if it just doesn't look interesting to me, just by the short description and the title. I think this is where I left off at Jill, and maybe pilot notes I looked at. Reflections on places, adventures, and people. Words and images, some recent, some from the past. Comedy in Baja, Texas, and adventure. A newsletter, words and images, about once a week. My reflections on places, adventures, and people I've met over time. Places you might want to explore. Subscribe if you're curious. I've been a pilot for many years. Yeah, I looked at this guy. Houston. Interesting photo. Stuff he thought looked cool. Artistic photography. Your endless curiosity is one of your keenly developed traits, a blessing in life, as well as keeping one young. The number 57, the Uper Report. I am alive. Yo. So make sure that works. The Uper Report. Upper Peninsula news, weather, adventures, history, giveaways, and fun content. Uper Steve. Of funtheup.com. Upper Peninsula? Is that Canada? Oh, Michigan's Upper Peninsula, where the skies get bright at night. Over 1,000 subscribers. Uper Steve. There he is. Huh. Michigan. Launched a year ago, $6.99 a month. How many subscribers does it have? Does it not say? Love Ireland. Ultimate Ireland Travel Bundle. When you join and stay updated on everything about the Emerald Isle. Your free travel bundle. Le Bulletin. Savvy Francophiles read Le Bulletin. Love Scotland. Free digital copy of the Ultimate Scotland Travel Guide. Love Scotland is a website that is dedicated to the promotion of Scotland as a travel destination. I've thought about visiting Scotland. Over 23,000? Is Glasgow the greatest? 12 reasons why Glasgow is the... Nice picture. My eyes are bad. Gadabout Maine, a thrice monthly love letter to Maine, curated Maine adventures, plus the spaces, places, and people that make them possible. French Crossroads, travel, culture, politics in France. Overthinking It, clickables, viewables, musings, and more from the overthinking mind of a travel and lifestyle journalist based in Paris. Bitchin'. Notes from Wherever We Are. Writing on the intersection between the seen and unseen. Longed for and the lost. The delicious and the delights. Mary Beth Bonifiglio. Interesting name. My writing is spell work that sews itself into somatic fabric. I write for the collective connection and change shaping. I am here to change shaping. I am here to support and tend to you during liminal times and spaces. To practice in the name of creative liberation for everyone. And that means everyone, human and more than human, by any means necessary. And these means are both intense and simple. Let's show up together for each other. For those who don't know me, my writing is prose based and explores land, food, culture, spirit, folk magic, and the natural innate longing we all have for the beauty in art and ache of longing to know better who we are and why we are all here together. I welcome you to my Substack newsletter called Notes from Wherever We Are, which was formerly called Notes from a Farmhouse, and then Notes from the Gunk House. And because it became apparent that moving, house hopping, is part of my path, it seemed appropriate to keep a sense of non-attachment, to write from wherever we are, even if we have no idea where that is. Where are we anyway? I write because it reminds me I am alive, still here, human, and in deep connection to more than humanness. Notes from Wherever I Am to Wherever You Are explores the intersection of many things, the subtle mundane of the daily, the art of being taken by longing, the magic that floats in and out. But mostly it's just to write, because writing matters, stories matter, and art probably is the only thing that might be able to save us, and I mean that. Art is weird and sensual, and so are we. You'll be receiving hybrid personal narrative, prose, myth-making musings, notes, and letters. You'll also receive bits and pieces of my book as I finish writing it. Sometimes you will get tarot lessons, though through prose and poetry. And a recipe that is also a love letter, that is also a map. Maybe you will get writing prompts to put a fire under your own beautiful ass to write your own stories. Sometimes I like to talk about writing and magic, so maybe a video or audio will pop in to play here. And there are some very amazing writers and creators and witches out there that I will be talking with, so maybe, since there is a podcast function, maybe that will happen too. The gift you receive in subscribing and reading my work, that brings you utter delight. I hope you sense deeper into the magic of all things. I hope it rewires your brain in the best kind of ways and drops you deeper into your belly and even deeper into the filthy, beautiful dirt. The gift I receive in connection and permission from across space and time, and we all need connection, and we all need the invitation to create. It's a massive and generous treasure for me to be supported by you. My prayer is that my writing pulls you back into yourself, the land under you, and the spirit of creative wilderness that we were all born from. Stick with me here. I am just beginning with Substack, but I believe within this supportive network, I will enable deep connections, inspire others to tell their stories, and to support my own life with writing. Dang, we haven't even started the about. The intersections of land, flesh, spirit, magic, culture, and the return to full-bodied and robust kind of animism. I write for the sake of writing. Full-bodied and robust animism. Sounds very sensual. Neurodiverse. Quantum midwifery for birth and beyond. Yoga of mystics, herbalism, and lineage-based tarot. I have an MFA in creative nonfiction. Study Southern Italian Tarantism. MFA? What does that stand for? Okay. 50 things of matter. Let's see what this is. It wasn't a dream, but it was a dream. Trippy. Dead time moves differently. Okay. Well, she's pretty high up on the leaderboard of the travel section. Does it tell you the stats? anywhere. If I were to select her and 2K plus subscribers. I messed up the. No, I didn't. There it is. Madonna del Piatto. Cooking. The Earful Tower. Comes a little more Paris from the Earful Tower. More than just parks. We are the Petites brothers, and our goal here is simple: to share the beauty of our national parks. I looked at them. Flying. Did I already look past all this stuff? Some of these look familiar. Travel the USA. Travel in changing time. Stories on camping and life from a professional novelist on the move. Toby's old woman. It's a nice picture. Travel and life with a writer. Do you love a real-life adventure unfolding as it happens? Subscribe to Passages. You have full access to my weekly newsletter as I camp and road trip through the USA and beyond. Each week the post will be free, but then go behind a paywall. If you don't keep up, you will miss it. Paid subscribers will gain access to the whole library of posts, which will eventually form the bones of my third memoir, Passages. We pulled into the Fuel Megaplex in Snowville, Utah, sighing with relief, and filled the SUV and the 5-gallon emergency gas can, celebrating our victorious. Tell me how long this is. Victorious overcoming of the 110-mile backcountry road. We had lunch at Molly's, the only restaurant in town. The 50s styled diner was decorated with deer heads and cowboy arcana, red leatherette booths, and padded swivel stools faced as resin-topped bar embedded with glitter in the bathroom. Toilet paper hung on an antler nailed to the wall. For some reason, there wasn't a person over 20 working in the place. Staff included a fresh-faced teenage cook and a bouncy, ponytailed waitress who took forever to make us a chocolate malt, which we shared as a reward for surviving the ordeal. Restored what ordeal she's talking about. Stored with fuel and food, we pulled into a tiny postal building. I mailed a letter to my writer friend, Holly Robinson. They would postmark it, and when she finally got the missive, the envelope would document our visit. Somehow that felt important. Snowville, Utah existed and we'd been there. Hopped up on chocolate malt, we charted a new course on Highway 84, a major thoroughfare, heading for a park called Walcott Lake in Idaho. Unfortunately, 84 was also narrow and choked with big trucks going at high speeds. Gusts of 50 to 60 mile per hour wind hit us so that our entire rig swerved and shimmied. Staying in our lane was a struggle, and it was for us. And if it was for us, it was for the semi-trucks, a scary thought. Several long, white-knuckled hours later, we found our turnoff crossing the state line into Idaho. We were glad to exit Highway 84 and head for Walcott State Park alongside the mighty Snake River. The high point of the challenging day was when we turned into the park and were able to dump after 4 days, something that people who don't trailer may not be aware of. To deal with onboard waste, you pull into a dump station, which only some parks have, and use a long, wide accordion-like flexible tube to empty the septic into a sewer outlet. Mike and I usually share in the unpleasantness. I keep the flexible waste hose pointed down and held into the septic dump outlet with my foot, while Mike pulls the levers under the trailer to let the refuse out. The levers must be operated in a particular order. First, you pull the dark lever to release the black water, which is code for the contents of the toilet. Once that's emptied, you pull the lever for the gray water, which is effluvia from the sinks and shower. The idea is that the gray water semi-washes out the tube from the black water, but that's not enough to clean it, of course. Mike then hoses out the interior of the pipe, and when he's satisfied, the big, slinky-like thing has to be compressed and stowed back on board. On our rig, the corrugated tube slides into the hollow back bumper. Sometimes it goes in neatly, and easily. Other times it seems to fight, like a jack-in-the-box refusing to be contained. That's the paywall. It's like she posts every 2 or 3 days. 4 days, maybe. Long gap there. October, November, December, there was nothing. Doing this for a while? The Russian River. Trailer camping. Climate refugee. What does that mean? Why not? David Watts Barton abroad. Man, it's tough to read look at the screen all day. Welcome to my world. I travel often. Oh yeah, that guy. The Grizzly Bear. Story of a British war correspondent who moved to the Canadian wilderness and set up a bear viewing lodge, and what happened next, by Julius Strauss. The Barely Surviving blog. Bear watching post. Bear viewing lodge. Is that him? This is Bear Viewing Lodge. Canadian wilderness. It's Pat from Edmonton. Our cold plunge. Here's Julius Strauss. War correspondent. God. Gotta have some bravery to do that. Follow the adventures and travails of life in the Canadian wilderness with Julius Strauss, a British war correspondent who gave up life on the front line and moved to remotest British Columbia. Julius set up his own wilderness lodge, which specializes in viewing grizzly bears, bought a bush plane, and learned how to track animals and move around grizzlies on foot. As told on Ben Fogel's New Lives in the Wild, this newsletter has been running since 2006. New Lives. It's told on Ben Fogel's new. I knew a kid named Ben Fogel in high school. I don't know. That's not him.
Overcoming your post-traumatic stress.
Ultimately, I think it was. I mean, what happened was I just met Kristen. I'd been battling with this sort of whole post-traumatic stress thing for 2 or 3 years and still working. I still went to Iraq and Afghanistan. And I was trying to manage it. And then
Jesus.
in September 2004, there was a horrible incident in southern Russia, in Beslan, where more than 100 children were killed. And I was there. And I came out that afternoon, and I had just met Kristen, and I thought, this has got to be a changing point in my life. I can't do this anymore. I've just, completely regressed in terms of all the progress I've made over the last 2 or 3 years.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
Cares for me, loves me, wants to be with
You
me.
can't put
So maybe it's
yourself
time for
through this.
change. And so Canada, the idea of
That
Canada
kind of
came
thing
up.
This involved a 1,500-kilometre
for an entire lifetime.
camper van. But it took its toll on the new couple, until Julius remembered an advert he'd seen about this secluded ranch.
I thought, that's going to be a good diversion. I need a diversion before she leaves me and buggers off back to Europe. So,
Diversion.
So I saw it on the internet cafe. I looked it up, and I found it. And I found out it was for sale. I phoned up the real estate agents and said, "Can we see it?" And he said, "Are you serious potential buyers?" I go, "Absolutely, definitely. I have no intention of buying anything." And so that's how we came out here, and we were absolutely smitten. And we left after an hour and a half, set off down the road. And I remember I turned to her and I
Brits.
said, "So what do you think? Should we just do it, buy it, give up everything?" And she said, "Okay, let's do it."
From what Julius had told me, it seemed he was the driving force behind the risks they'd taken. But he did meet his match in Kristen. While at university in Estonia, she married a diplomat. She was part of the country's new elite and had a successful career of her own at a leading news agency. But Kristen wasn't happy.
Can I say this is the neatest pile of wood and the largest pile of wood I think I've ever seen. Presumably this is life out here, especially when it comes to winter.
Yeah, you have no choice because we only have wood-burning stoves, so this is what we do. This is the only way to heat for us.
Do you remember the first time you met Julius?
Yeah, so I do remember it very well, and I remember that I didn't like him very much actually the first time when I met him.
What did you think?
Yeah, I think he was really cocky actually.
Did you?
Yes. But a year later, everything had changed. So then, when we met a year later, yeah.
It's sort of strange having them chop the wood.
And what did your family
I
think?
feel like she's
They thought I was crazy.
Did they make their
only thing she can think about is this guy gonna kill
My
me
mom?
for some reason.
Yeah, but actually
With
my
that
dad
axe.
liked him right away. So that way made my life easy. Right now, my whole family adores Julius because he's probably the most emotional.
This is the
person we
beginning
have
of the horror movie.
While I was with him,
at that
Julius's
river.
tenacity seemed to know no bounds. Upstream from the ranch, he asked me to help him with one of the most dangerous jobs he'd had to do, armed with a chainsaw and a life jacket. Fallen trees can create dams in the river, and this can be extremely dangerous.
It's a really good
If a boat gets caught, it can
documentary.
be dragged underwater by the force of the current. So, we had to clear the blockage.
Doing this on your own is not something you would want to do.
Vimeo?
So it's good there are two of us here.
So that's what I got this for. So this is basically your
Who is
second
this
one.
guy?
You're going to clip it onto me and you're going to hang on to me for dear life. And when I do go in,
You're actually going to...
It's like an actual TV show or something.
when I go in, you let go of me. That's the deal.
The wilds.
Or you follow me in.
Lives in the wild.
And
Make sure you have 1 foot safe
Revisit.
before you go on to the next one.
kilometres
Of all
back.
the jobs I thought you'd have out here, this is
For
the
high
last
budget.
thing I thought I'd be doing, standing on a raging Canadian river with a chainsaw. This is usually like the biggest hazard.
Well, this time last year, I went straight into this river.
Dear-
Running chainsaw,
Now you tell
high
me.
water. Yeah. So this will be my first time out since then. So you're a brave man, Ben.
He fell into the water last year.
Okay, buddy. You got it?
Cutting too quickly, and the strength of the current could have snapped the tree and thrown us into
Why?
the river.
Why are they doing this? All right. That's interesting. Yeah, I like that guy. I will subscribe for free. Skip for now. See you later. Living danishly. It's sort of like living dangerously. It's funny. It's funny. Very funny. Author of 6 books, including The Year of Living Danishly. Former editor Helen Russell. Nordic columnist, attempting to raise 3 small people and 1 unruly dog. How to Raise a Viking. Out February 15th, HarperCollins. How to Be a Dog. I'm writing about dogs, travel, and life, and taking pictures along the way. How to Be a Dog? That's interesting. It's written by a man, though. I entered nap, and I started writing to explore my connection with dogs. I believe our lives are better when we bear witness to beautiful things and thread them into our identity. Somehow I've chosen dogs. Perhaps they've chosen me. I believe we offer deeper connections than when we share our experience. I love the adventures that life brings and love capturing them with a camera. I've made a series of picture and kids books with my dog Momo. I should mention we were a New York Times bestseller, right? And I continue to make books with my current dogs, Yaya and Boo. That looks familiar. How to Be a Dog. Sears top 10. Okay. Looks like he's van life in it. The destination is now. World traveling octogenarian leaning into life wherever he is. Peter Tremaine. Launched 5 months ago. It's already up there on the leaderboard. Power of Awe. Merch for subscribers. Why pay for writing? Part 2. Felicity is my travel companion. Let's see Felicity. Not bad, buddy. That's probably not Felicity. Yeah, he's talking about Felicity, the noun, the non-proper noun. intense happiness. Bitcoin Capitalists. The Bitcoin Capitalist is your go-to resource for weekly updates on obtaining residency and second citizenship through investment. Stay up to date with the latest news and insights on global citizenship while exploring the world of Bitcoin. Man, I wish I'd bought some Bitcoin. Held on to it back when it was first invented. I could be writing a blog about global citizenship. A Gatlinburg Now publication. Everything we've come to love about Gatlinburg and the Smoky Mountains. Where's that at? About a Gatlinburg visitor from Iowa who writes about our wonderful trips can make vacation as magical as ours. Holy flippin' flapjacks. Wow, that's a lot of food. Mountain coaster enthusiasts. Moonshine Mountain Coaster. Okay. Without maps. Lose yourself to find yourself. Over 2,000 subscribers. Welcome to Without Maps, a newsletter for people who just love to travel. Are willing to forego the guidebook. My philosophy is in order to find yourself, you have to lose yourself. And if you're willing, travel will be your convoy. So out with the preconceived ideas and in with the unbidden. I have spent the majority of my life circling the globe. I have fed stray dogs in Cairo for a day, been tattooed in the back of a jewelry store in Istanbul. I've joined a chef to seek out new sources of protein in the Amazon. So I want to tell you how I travel and how you could. I do not like lists or must-dos. I don't care about aspirational luxury nonsense. In fact, throw out the word luxury whilst we are at it. You're being conned. It doesn't matter if you're wealthy or not, alone or with your person or people. You can have an amazing adventure. All you need is to open your mind. Don't think about what I'm telling you, just feel it. It's not head knowledge, it is heart knowledge. So come with me and I will show you everywhere. I contribute to the New York Times, National Geographic, Condé Nast Traveler, and a bunch of other publications, including Wanderlust Travel, where I am the special features editor. In the name of travel, I've been on the BBC Darling and battled it out. On CNN, I've hosted TEDx talks, Pechakucha discussions, spoken at IMEX conferences, plus everywhere. My iHeart podcast has completed its first season. Mae West was speaking to me when she said, and I paraphrased here as I like to do, "Good boys go to heaven, bad boys go everywhere." Hence the name of my travel show. Currently, I am working on a book of travel essays to be published sometime soon, and a new travel show that is just hankering for television. Not that I am counting, but I've been to something like 127 countries and uses to fly somewhere every single week of the year for the sheer love of seeking stories of the world. That was before a global pandemic slowed me down just enough to open a travel-inspired store called Provisions in Carmel. I was born in Africa, bred all over Europe. The accent says England, darling. And then lived in New York for a decade. Now I live in New York and California with my husband and our dog Ella, who you should fall in love with. More about me here. Without maps. Stephanie's Substack. Exploring the rich tapestry of existence while embracing the profound complexities of life, illness, death, and everything that lies between. While embracing the profound complexities. About nothing. Stephanie's Substack. Stephanie Klein Albert. There's her face. Having worked globally with the UN, government, and NGOs, I now coach individuals and teams. Embracing the lessons of a rare terminal illness deepens my appreciation for impermanence, love, and mystery. Looks like she's still alive. Never a normal day. Unorthodox travel, perspectives on life, creativity, culture, personal journey, and podcast host of two broadcasters. There she is. Some sand dunes. It's like California. I wonder where that is. On the road, in a van, with my dog, to write and build community wherever I roam, after living all the other lives I've lived. Starting over, past 60, and living an unconventional life, hoping to build encouragement through my journey. To Parquero Co. Colombian who believes that Colombia is the true American dream. Join my list to receive daily tips on how to live well in Colombia. Bow-tied Colombia. Love to visit Italy. Discover Italy. Future Southeast Asia. Transport and urban development in Southeast Asia. Samuel Whisperleaf. Didn't I see him? One of the other. He's writing one of the other publications. Moving through. Later in life runner, exploring midlife, marriage, parenting, adult children. And how to keep moving forward through it all. Subscribe for essays, interviews, and resources from award-winning journalist Heather Johnson Durocher. Over 3,000. Nice little color scheme. Blue. Moving through. More about me. She's a runner. Lake Michigan. Chilly early spring day. MichiganRunnerGirl.com. Bet you this is on WordPress. Powered by WordPress. I had to guess. Novum Productions. Huh. $9,220 followers on Facebook. Yeah, everything. Just about running in Michigan. Things are different now. People follow YouTubers and personalities and they want to see them do a variety of things. They want to get their take on lots of topics. Podcasts. Alright. Not for me. Go there to know there. Reportage, the journalism of hanging out, and non-pesky analysis from around the country, the world, and the day. Plus low-key insights on catching vibes, connecting with cool folks, and enjoying up your life. Alright. Let's check it out. A shot of some mountains from out of a plane. Launched over a year ago. Check the about section. Nothing. Dan Hoyle. Picture of some planes. He's got 100 subscribers. Real life 90s dreams. Weed and weapons populism meets Aquarian age consciousness. A weekend at a homesteading and prepper summit. Okay. Nice little campground. The homesteading and prepping summit at the St. Johns County Fairgrounds near Palatka, Florida. Says the co-organizer of the homesteading and prepping. Next year come back and I'll take you to the house. We'll smoke some blunts. You can shoot an AR-15 and a 50 cal. Says the co-organizer of the homesteading and prepper HAP summit outside Palatka, Florida. He knows I'm not a conservative like him. I tell him I'm a playwright, and he pulls up a clip of an old Daily Show piece on preppers on his phone and laughs as he plays it on me. He's lanky with a trim beard and does IT consulting in Jacksonville, an hour away. Co-organizer and wife is a self-proclaimed 15th generation Floridian. She has a rootsy vibe and teaches classes on making homemade balms and salves. She also has an extensive self-defense curriculum. On the second evening, around the campfire, children run back and forth. When conversation turns to guns, she pats the handgun that's been strapped to her waist under her "What Would Dolly Parton Do" t-shirt, and she never leaves the house, and says she never leaves the house without it. I'd come as research for a new show trying to understand the socio-political moment post-pandemic and pre-2024 presidential election campaign. I was curious to attend my first prepper conference, a movement that mushroomed and began to mainstream during the pandemic. I camped next to Patrick, a burly solo traveler in his late 30s with a long, wispy beard, friendly and chipper. He promptly let me know I was welcome to his weed and whiskey. Come on, Hollywood, try some of this local stuff. It's pretty good, he offered. He'd attended the first annual HAP summit last year and loved it. So for the second year, he'd made it part of a solo road trip he took to get some woozah time for himself. He'd grown up in Baltimore in a family of longshoremen, but didn't want to follow the family trade. After a few years of working shitty jobs for food and weed money, he enlisted in the Coast Guard instead. There he is. It's like a fine fellow. It's a playwright. Actor, journalist, playwright, Politico, sports fan, father, creator of journalistic theater. Go there to know there. Ghost Mall hanging. My son and nephew. Something towards political activism, intense hybridity of backgrounds, rubbing up some crews of close friends, hollowing out space in the world. I miss that constant whir of creative closeness. A new discovery of music or film, where writing was passed around like a holy grail. Myself driving a borrowed old Honda Civic through a rainstorm to a mall to see a movie with my son Winston. My nephew, Misha, visiting from Paris, listening to esoteric jams on KLX, Cal Berkeley's radio show, and I felt transported back in time. But it wasn't the passive nostalgia of looking at old photos amazed how baggy my khakis were in 1997. It was much weirder and cooler. My son's 8 years old, my nephew not quite 7, much younger than I was in the 1990s. It was a trip back to the way of experiencing the world pre-internet. Winston and Misha sat looking out the window, wide eyes tucked beneath flat brim A's and Warriors hats, enveloped in music and the promise of raw shared experience together. Growing up in San Francisco in the 90s, I didn't go to the mall much. 24 bus. There they are. That must be him. On a warm night in September, I was sitting on the porch of the Royal American, a local institution dive bar in Charleston, South Carolina, eating a burger and drinking a beer. I had flown from Oakland a few hours before and didn't have any meetings till the morning. The train slowly rolled by a few yards beyond the wrought iron railing. A woman approached and asked, "Who brought you here all alone?" I smiled and leaned back in my chair and explained I was a playwright working on a new play. I must have been talking with my hands because she noticed my wedding ring and said, "Oh, you're married." This put her further at ease, so she sat down inside and bowed her head when she said, "I'm in marketing." I laughed at the humility of her resignation. Soon her friend, Horsey, stopped by to join. His daddy was a railroad man, and he knew all about trains. The train rolling by had stopped, Horsey explained. It was carrying BMWs, and he knew how to unhitch it. There's $100 million of fine German automobiles on that train car alone, he said with a grin. Just sitting there for the taking. He'd grown up poor in a rich part of Charleston because his granddad won a house in a poker bet in the 1920s. Kept a chip on his shoulder and an ability to weave through society at any level. Okay. So another subscribe. Seems like a good publication. Uh-oh. How to be a dog makes me laugh. La newsletter de trabaja en Suiza. It's in Spanish. Apples and elderflower. Food recipes, stories from Tasmania's far south. Media musings with Cassandra Brookland. How and what to pitch me and other freelance writers. How and what to pitch me? The Carry On, weekly travel, intel, expert recommendations. The Why Matters. 10 years full-time travel with 2 world-schooled kids, currently on a sailboat, writing about travel, lifestyle, education, equality, and what it's like to live an unconventional life. A broad, Natalie. Jesus. What pluckery is this? A deep dive every Sunday, often deep dive every Sunday, often into a place I've explored, and a multitude of short subjects on Wednesday, forays into the New Jersey Pine Barrens, forgotten historical sites, interesting places around the world, and short stories. What Pluckery is This by Thomas Pluck. Another looky-loo. I contain multitudes, and I miss blogging and the community it created. What you'll get here is a weekly post on a variety of subjects, including history, books, popular culture, my explorations in the Pine Barrens and elsewhere, plus a new short story every month, or chapters of a serial novel. Blade of Dishonor. Bad Boy Boogie. The Boy from County Hell. It's cool. My books and stories run the gamut from literary to crime, humor, horror, and fantasy. What they have in common is being full of heart. I've been published in the Ootney Reader, McSweeney's Vautrin, Weird New Jersey, The Goodman Project, and many anthologies. I live near the Pine Barrens, and I've been exploring the ghost towns and abandoned mills, finding history, nature, oddness, and maybe even the Jersey Devil. Subscribers get full access to the newsletter, my story archive, and weekly chapters of any serial novels in progress. Future plans include Tommy Salami's video book reviews and interviews with authors and fellow me riding a traditional Calabrian battle swan is taken from life and was painted by the Mythpocalypse. Probably goofing around in the woods somewhere. Huh. Live it up in the lounge pit. Future plans include Tommy Salami's videos. If you need testimonials, oh joy, Joy Archer. This is mostly the story of sailing from Seattle to New Zealand and back. When we returned, I kept having brilliant thoughts to share with you. That sounds cool. It's been quite the adventure. Maybe not, but September 2021. Husband Harry and I set sail from a perfectly sturdy and dry home on Bainbridge Island near Seattle, headed for New Zealand and back, just like it was no big deal. Those early days were challenging. I write a lot of words about this in the newsletter. Over the course of our 2-year adventure, I wrote weekly posts and shared them with friends and family via a simple email, no photos. There wasn't internet in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, so we used Iridium, a text-only basic satellite communication device. Then came Starlink, giving ocean-goers access to silly cat videos and research on autopilot tiller arms. This newsletter goes backward and reposts of the stories from our 2-year adventure and moves forward from August 2023. We arrived in Alaska, and our faith in Starlink was rewarded with consistent connectivity. About our vessel. It's a full keel, weighs about 17 tons. Rides the ocean like a boss. She really takes no shit. She has 165 gallons of onboard fuel capacity, 200 gallons of water capacity. She was built for crossing oceans. Reminds us of this constantly. Nice. It's like you did it in the right boat. I was thinking about trying that in a 30-foot cat. Mikave, Martha's Vineyard Vacay Guide, events, local travel tips, and more. Around the world and 80 scrapes. Is it just me, or is this number changing? This Blueford. Oh man, I can't see. 80 scrapes. Kate Walker. Travel, food, and politics intersect with the occasional snafu with personal shame. I'm looking to travel extensively, especially in Asia. Over the years, I've come to realize that we can't separate our leisure and pleasure from the world in which we live. Everything is political. Context is key. Shanghai? Or Beijing? Access to my nomadic life. Serial travelist. Route to elsewhere. This guy does illustrations. LA. Alright, I'm going to stop at 100 in the travel section. Come back to this later. I got subscribed to 3 people. The one woman, the red hair, guy who's went to the movies with his kids, and one other person, I think. Oh yeah, the grizzly bear diaries. Not bad.